Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons. This is Yoshi's Crafted World, and I'm going to be an absolute wuss. Fighting Cabbages is beyond my abilities right now, so instead we're going to be helping the Blockerfella people to get the last of their souvenirs. I say the last, there's a lot still to do, so we're going to start with a curious rock. But in this episode, we're going to be clearing out all of the remains. I'm post-commentating this in case you can't tell. I was torn over whether or not to do the voice acting here, and we'll be seeing a lot of text, so I think to respect your time, I'm going to not do that. But yes, in this episode, we're doing all of Big Paper Peak and Origami Gardens, starting with a curious rock, which, as you'll see, I'm going to show each level from the start so you can watch along and see just how much you need to play in order to get to where you need to be. The Curious Rock is right there, just after the first hill, so quite easy to find. I suppose it's a good way to introduce the, it's the thesis statement of this video, and I'll try not to go on to too many side tangents while we're going along, but at the same time, I do have side tangents to share, so...
Woo, you found me a curious rock. As thanks for your help, you get a flower.
Yeah, we know the story. At some point, it did occur to me... Ooh, 2969 coins. Yeah, it occurred to me that I wasn't actually going to voice absolutely everything they say, because you get the idea. Anyway, minecart with flag, waterfall cave... You'll have to go about halfway through the level to get there, but why should I say that with words when you're about to see it with what I assume to be your eyes? Obviously, if you're not able to see, then that statement doesn't apply to you. I say that because I know that I do have at least... I don't remember now. At least one viewer who is hard of hearing and one viewer who has, I think... a vision impairment, I don't remember, and now I feel really bad. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Anyway, as I was saying, go about halfway through the level. Obviously, when I was recording this, I was... Well, now I feel bad describing it as going through completely blind, but going through with very little memory of the level itself, to be a bit more upfront about it. So I was kind of doing all of the side stuff, partly to grind coins anyway, but also, hey, look, in the background there is the minecart with flag. Now, remember that that's there, because that's going to be a landmark for... later on. Now, what's our next objective? Well, we're about to find out. But first, we get another smiley flower. Well, we will in a moment.
Minecart with flag.
Yes, smiley flower, make with the money, and, well, the flower money. I was looking at my coin count while I was saying that. And you know, AX, I mean, please, I'm a European in Europe playing the European version of the game on a European console. Why are you spelling it It's AXE in European English. Please, Nintendo, do your job. Anyway, we're looking for an on the flip side of this level. And again, just if you're playing along, which I admit would be a strange thing to do in the year 2023, almost 2024, but if you are, you can follow along, and this is another one where it's about halfway-ish through the level, so we'll run into it in a moment. And oh, there's something in the background there that will be important later, but don't worry about it just yet. And the point I was getting at is, well, there's the Because I was doing these levels sort of from an absence of memory, I was doing all these bonus side areas just in case that's where they hid the collectible. And very rarely, if ever, was that actually the case, but...
Whoa, you found me an
Wow, it is hard to do that on an in-breath, I'm just now realizing. You're welcome for my sacrifice. Anyway, Buffalo, this is the first of 4 instances in this video, I think, where we're looking for multiple objectives. So, there's going to be a lot of speedy-uppy, slowy-downy, speedy-backy up again in this next segment. But yes, Buffalo, which, when I was recording this, it reminded me of the existence of Beefalo, which I think are buffalo crossbred with cows, I think. I know nothing about livestock. Anyway, I suppose that the calming, reassuring aspect of this particular mission is the buffalo are kind of grouped together, so they're not that difficult to find. For the moment, don't worry about anything, just take the train ride, don't die in the process, which isn't just a Tessism, like, literally don't die to the obstacles. But anyway, the first buffalo is down there in the background, and I'm not even going to need to speed back up because the second one is just over here. And at first, I thought I screwed this up because, like, Yoshi goes below the lip of these little carriages here if you break the the boxes. Also, I recommend getting the Poochie Pops if you're in a flip side of a level, because that way you have infinite egg. But yep, there's the second buffalo. The third one is going to be a little bit more tricky because you have to get on the train and then hit it from the train, so you do have a very short window there to actually make that hit. You might be able to hit it from off screen while you're at the station, I'm not sure. The next one, coming up right there at that corner. Again, I think you have more time than you might think, because obviously the train does that little S-bend. And then the last one, don't worry that you're near the exit, because the last one is right there in that little divot in the background there. Now, do pay attention to these numbers as well, because we needed 5 buffalo, and there's one coming up later where both in editing in post and in the live recording, I thought, wait a minute, I've only got 5, I'm missing one. I need to collect 6, but they asked for 5 the whole time. But that's something that's still to come. That's not the buffalo situation. Anyway, do you remember what I was saying earlier about bearing in mind the existence of a tent? So, I could, quite realistically, just cut ahead and go, hey, remember when I pointed that out earlier? We're at that point in the level. But no, I'm going to respect someone who just came here and jumped ahead in the video to see specifically where to find the tent. Just, again, go about a third of the way through the level, and then it's there in the background, quite prominent. It sticks out even if you're not specifically looking for it, so fairly easy to find. And I do appreciate, by the way, that these side missions do vary in terms of, like, how tricky they are, because they do get tricky in some places, but they're interspersed with these relatively easy ones. It does feel a little bit like the designers were going, hey, look at all the cool stuff we did with this art style, look at it! So, anyway, crystal clusters. There are a lot of crystal clusters in the waterfall cave. You're specifically looking for the all-silver ones with the yellow outline. The game does make a distinction between them, so, you know, pay attention. But the first one is just behind this first cart here. Just push that aside. There we go. That's what they look like. And yeah, it's a fairly relaxing mission altogether. Like, I would worry about... Oh, okay, first of all, I missed this in post and just now, but good thing I slowed down the footage to show you that, yeah, the second crystal was there. They're not that difficult to find. You know, they're only easy to miss if you're not paying super-duper attention, but in the main, it's not that bad. Case in point, here's another one in the foreground. Quite easy to overlook, but not so much so that... Like, I didn't miss it and have to come back for it, which is more than I can say about later missions in this very video, but anyway. I'm doing my best to provide insightful commentary here, and the temptation is so real to go on little random tangents, because there's so much random stuff I've been wanting to talk about in videos. First of all, though, this next one is an easy one to miss. Don't mind me just grabbing coins. There's nothing up here. I thought there might be, but there wasn't. But in the background of the background, so the sub-background, and that fly guy makes it very easy to, like, it confuses the game's aiming system where, like, I'm aiming for the background. The game's like, what if you're aiming for the foreground, though? But only when this fly guy's in a specific position. This is easy to miss because it's so easy to just glide past it without a second thought, but there's that. And the last one coming up is... down here? Yep, just down there and in the foreground once again. So keep your eyes peeled and you'll be fine. Anyway, the one tangent I do want to go on, because I've been meaning to mention this for months and I keep forgetting, is when I walk into the city centre where I live, whether that's to go to work or to get shopping or whatever, I have to walk past, I think it's a cafe, and it's called The Grand. And it has a sign above the door that says The Grand, and it, like, the sign repeats sort of above the door, to the left of the door, and, like, around the corner. And it just looks like it's missing a word, so it's just, The Grand, The Grand, The Grand what, though? It's just The Grand. See, this, I don't know, it sounded funnier in my head. Anyway, we're looking for a family of bats, and once again, it's a situation of just, like, you don't need to go into the background, which from our perspective now is the foreground. I was just looking in case there was some sort of trickery afoot. There was not. But it was worth a check. If you're unsure, always check. And once again, I went out of my way to grab a Poochie Pop just to make sure I wouldn't run out of eggs, because Poochie Pops are infinite eggs. Anyway, get to one of these waterfall sections. I think it's the... Well, obviously it's not that one just gone. I believe it's the next one coming up. Once again, checking the bonus areas just in case, but no need. Anyway, it's this room here. You can see in the background there. Batman and Batchild, or Batwoman and Batchild. Child is not a gendered term. Anyway, moving swiftly on. I said moving swiftly on. Thank you, Tess in recording, for pressing the button eventually.
Ooh, you found me a bat family.
Now, I don't remember what's coming up next. Judging by the various cuts that I've made in... Yeah, crystal blocks. Just looking at the editing timeline in Premiere, just while I'm recording this. So, these crystal blocks, specifically the blue ones that kind of look like they have a question mark on, but they don't, it's just like a wisp of some sort, they really do stand out, and I probably commented on them at some point when I was playing these levels the forwards way round, and if not, they certainly stuck out to me since then, but yep, there's the first one right there, and this is the first instance in this video of me missing one, but don't worry, we come back for it. So if you're following along, just bear that in mind. Use this as a mental note of where the blocks are. Case in point, here's the second one. But, like, don't try playing along with me in real time, partly because the sped up footage is sped up to 500% and you physically can't play at 500%. I don't think it's even possible to overclock a Switch at all. Never mind enough to do that. There's the third one, by the way. Now, is it this? Yeah. Okay, fair warning, I'm about to go past a block. But if you didn't see it just there, don't worry, neither did I. But we come back for it, so don't worry about it. But in that section where... Well, there's no point in me describing it, really. We're going to come back and see it in just a moment, but... As ever, having to solve all of the obligatory puzzles as well as the bonus ones, just to be certain I'm not missing something, but... In this is another instance where you don't have to do any of the side bonus puzzles, but I was checking just in case. But you do need to get the magnets in order to get through. Now, this is a tricky one. Hiding behind that rock, and the egg ricocheted and hit it for me, but... That might be a bit confusing, but there was a block behind a piece of scenery. You have to hit the scenery out of the way, and then also hit the block, but in my case, the egg hit the scenery, ricocheted off the foreground. Here's the last one, by the way, it's there. And then bounced back and hit the block, and that's old news now, so at this point, I'm thinking, I can't seriously have missed one, have I? And then I go to the goal, and it's like, oh no, I did miss it, so let's rewind real fast and just go back to the point in the level I was talking about before, where there's two mouses and a question mark cloud that makes some apples appear, which is approximately coming up here. And on my second go through the level, I actually did the apples thing. It doesn't actually make a difference, it's just the block is really deviously hidden. It's not here, it's just in the background behind this little staircase. So at no point do you get a clear view of it. And I'm not even mad, it's just devious and evil and very easy to miss. But I didn't miss it, and now you know that it's there as well. Now, what's our next task? Is it another multiple thing? It looks like it might be. It's hard to tell from this level of zoom on the... Oh, nope, it's just the one. It's a cactus card. Okay. This one is... Again, the train level in particular makes me feel like it's a bit redundantly showing each level from the beginning, but at the same time it feels necessary to give you a proper gauge of exactly where in the level we're going. But once again, as with the Curious Rock, just ride the first train and don't worry about a thing. Obviously with the Curious Rock you have to worry a little bit because there it goes, but no, just ride it to the first station and then... I found it by pure luck, but just go all the way to the right where one of the, well, this cloud which gives you a piece of the broken rail, but don't actually complete the rail because the cactus card is in the background, and there is that. I do have other random things to talk about, and I'm trying to think of what they are. Well, in between the hiatus that this series was on, I learned how to make, like, spaghetti bolognese, and since then, like, within the last week, I've also taught myself to make good macaroni and cheese from scratch, so that's going on in my life. Now, here's a curious one, which I don't think we've had at any point in the game up to this point, but it's been 3 years, so it's hard to tell. We have a Find a Thing mission that's split up across 3 levels. And this is really clever, because I've certainly noticed the caramel block billboards, but it didn't occur to me that they were in multiple levels. But yeah, there's one here, there's one in Whistlestop, Wales, and there's one in Mouses and Magnets, and the first one is in the background here in this sort of first waterfall-y uppy-downy room. And, yeah, it's clever. I'm pleasantly surprised. Now, Whistlestop Rails, once again, take the first train and don't worry too much about it. If you've been paying attention, you'll have actually already seen it several times in this video already. But, or at least once anyway, but just after the Curious Rock, down the next hill, there it is. And I got it nice and quick. It's a big, easy target. I'm not sure if you're able to hit it once the train stops. If it goes off screen by that point, I don't recall. Anyway, mouses and magnets. This one I thought would be the easiest, but only because I remember seeing a lot of billboards in this level, but some of them are for jelly beans, some of them are for Yosta cookies, which, was that foreshadowing the remake of Super Mario RPG? We just don't know. Because, for those unaware, Yosta Isle is a location in that game, like Y-O-apostrophe-S-T-E-R, it's where the Yoshis live, and it's probably a callback to that, or at the very least it's using that as a brand name. Anyway, there's the caramel block sign, and it's just after the crystal block that I missed previously. Anyway, that, as you can probably infer, is kind of the final boss of the souvenir missions for Big Paper Peak. So, we get a flower. Well, another flower. But more importantly,
I put out a request for you.
we get twirly woos. Yep, there they are. Join the family. We have twirly woos.
Huzzah, you collect all the smiley flowers in Big Paper Pig.
Yes, I can. And, because we don't actually have that many... Yep, we're on top of everything so far. There aren't as many in Origami Gardens, so it was fairly easy to just sort of bash them out in this video as well. So, yep.
Origami Gardens, a Flutter sign.
You get the idea. And there are actually only 2 proper level, quote-unquote proper levels in Origami Gardens, and one of them is an auto-scroller, so I guess it makes sense that there will be fewer missions here, and on that basis, it feels like it would be easier to just... It will be quicker, I think, to complete all the missions here, and, yeah. Sure enough, that's what I'm doing in this video, and once again, going out my way to collect the poo-poo puppies just so I have infinite egg. And about halfway through the level, we're almost there, I promise. You'll be able to see in the background coming up, just after this bottle, I think? Yep, there we go, a sign with a flutter on it. Not to be confused with a wiggler. They're legally distinct entities, even though one is a larval form of the other, and one is just the same thing, but with wings. And the capacity to speak in full sentences if Paper Mario Sticker Star is to be believed. Anyway, upon receiving this next request, it occurred to me, hey, I've been grinding up coins, and I don't think I've actually spent them in Origami Gardens. So, yes, our next quest is 6 cabbages. And, fair warning, that level is an auto-scroller, and they are bunched up in weird combinations. But before we get to that, let's just spend a bunch of money. Because we can do that now. I've been steadily obtaining coinage over the course of all of these missions and such like in between. I mean, doing all of the boss missions over and over again to get those smiley flowers certainly helped in the coin collecting department, so we're going to get all of the costumes eventually. So, bursting yellow flower, bursting purple flower, pink flower bed, blue bucket, Tess reading the screen, purple flower bed. To spoil the surprise, pink flower pot, the one in the golden egg. Green flower pot is the one we're going to be wearing henceforth for the rest of this episode. Green coffee creamer to go with the black coffee creamer I was presently wearing. Monty-Mole, it's thematically relevant. And green squish. I feel like I recently made a reference to Splish Kaboom from the Wind Waker, but in real life, and it was timely and funny. But the more I think about it, the more I think maybe that was just a dream that I had. I also had a dream that I did some sort of, like, romantic ballroom dance with specifically FNAF 3 Springtrap, which, like, I don't get why some people, like, have the hots for him, but I danced with him again. Like, in my dream, he didn't smell of anything. There's the first cabbage, and I think 2 of them are kind of in close together pairs, and then the other 2 are separate, and that's one of the separate ones. Also, he had like a tramp stamp on him, that also cabbage in foreground and then separate cabbage in background. You're sort of on a time limit here because the auto scroll, so just pay attention to that. He had a tramp stamp that indicated that his, let's say his hourly rate was 30p, but there's another cabbage by the way. He only accepted payment in the form of 10p coins, but this was phrased as 10p coins are in play. So, coefficient of robostitution. Also, there's a thing in the background there that looked like a carrot. That'll be important later, and it's not a carrot. Have I ever told the story of the curse of the Coventry carrot on this channel? Because that is a really old story, and it's not really interesting enough to merit conversation. Anyway, there's the 5th cabbage, and in the background there, I said in the background there, there's the 6th. So, as I said, 2 of them are in pairs, and 2 of them aren't. Anyway. Well, I suppose I can go into the story of the curse of the Coventry carrot. So, it seems like a sort of story I tell in this series. A long time ago, so like in the early 2000s, I lived in the Midlands at the time, and we had a bit of a garden going in the back garden, and there was this really weird flower growing in a flower pot that we kept sort of on the rear patio. And one day I was like I would help with the gardening, but when I was a child, I would like water the garden because we had a hose back then. We had a garden and we had a hose, and I used the hose to water the garden. I was watering this flower, and that dislodged some of the topsoil in the flower pot, and I realized, hey yo ma, this is a carrot! It was a carrot. But because it had grown in a flower pot, it was really stunted, so it was like the top part of the carrot. By the way, there's the bottle house. Riveting story, I know, but yeah. We lived in like Rugby in Warwickshire, which is near Coventry, so very well, we had no way of like where the hell did this carrot spring from? Like we didn't plant carrot seeds. It must have blown here on the wind from Coventry. We were cursed by the Coventry carrot. Anyway, the thing that started me on this whole tangent is not what we're looking for here, but it does look similar. And I had the same reaction to it both live and when I was editing this footage the first time around. I'm going to have to edit it again to put this commentary to it, but even at 500% speed, this is a really slow level because it's an auto-scroller. And yes, there's me being all try-hard trying to get a good score in Monty-Mole now that it no longer matters. And it wouldn't matter anyway because your score doesn't register if you're going for souvenir punching. Anyway, the landmark that you're looking for is, as the Blockafeller person said, there's a point where there's a large Monty-Mole that you have to hit multiple times for it to count. There he goes. And just coming up just after that is, oh, that's a big boy back there. Like, yeah, the turnip is a lot larger than I imagined. And the reaction that I just gave is the reaction I had both seeing it in editing, because I'd forgotten, and live in the moment when I was recording it. Now, looking at the timeline, we have another find multiple things thing, and if this is the thing I'm thinking of, then we have another instance. You know what, I think it was the crystals where I thought, oh no, I've only found 5 of them, when I found the 6th, so I thought I hadn't found all of them, and I did find all of them. Anyway, we're looking for butterflies. Some are easy to find, some are deviously, devilishly hidden. One of them you may have actually already seen when we were looking for the bottle house. But yep, there's the first one right there, right at the start. And some of them are in the background, but not all of them. They do get mean with these. They turn into Mean Steve, the sentient key. As you can see, I almost ran right past it. It's chilling on that flower arch. That felt weirdly lyrical the way I said that. Anyway, again, just going for coins, destroying background scenery. There's the bottle house from before. The next one, I go right past. Maybe you saw it in the background there, I'm not sure, but we'll look at that in just a moment. But there's one just chilling in the flower patch. The cabbage patch? There are no cabbages here, we've got the cabbages. Now, I hit this just to check if they'd hidden a butterfly on the flip side. Anyway, my eagle eyes spotted, well, I don't have eagle eyes, I have lion eyes, but there was a butterfly in the background there, and then I realized, well, I actually did a little bit of clever editing there, but I went to the end of the level, realized I'd missed one, came back and saw, hang on a minute, there you are, hiding behind that pinwheel in the background. Miss again, try again, miss again. I fired again, and I missed. And there's technically it's the 3rd one, but I got it 5th. So, we're almost done, I promise, just one more? Yeah, just one more and then we'll be done with Origami Gardens and this video as a whole. And I am starting to think maybe I should just live stream the rest of it because I'm so worried about this coming across as tedious, because it is fun and therapeutic to play, it's difficult to make it interesting, but I do want to demonstrate getting 100% in this game. And this is a necessary evil of that. So, should there be more episodes of this? Should I live stream it? I don't know, we'll figure it out. Anyway, once again, fairly slow auto-scroll situation, but you might recall, when I started on the tangent about the curse of the Coventry carrot, the thing I saw in the background I thought was a partially submerged carrot. It's not, it's a mostly not submerged radish. So, again, just go through the level until you see it, and Obviously, I'm providing a visual reference as to what seeing it is like as an experience. I believe you have to break some boxes to get down. Yep, there you go. You can't hit it from above. You have to break these boxes to get down to get a clear view of the radish. And then you can hit the radish, and then you've got the radish. It's radical, more or less. Anyway, that puts us in a position where Origami Gardens is also complete.
Whoa, you found me a radish.
Have a smiley flower, etc. But more, well, equally important, slightly less important than the smiley flowers.
I put out a request for you, so have some twirly-woos.
And on that note, I have been and will continue to be Tessellating Hexagons, and next time, be it an episode or a live stream, we will move on to the next area of the game and continue with the souvenir hunting, Dino Desert. See you in the next one for that.